Get ready to embark on an economic journey as we unveil the heartbeats of the Rwandan business landscape. This is the Business Age, your front row seat to the economic renaissance of the land of 1,000 hills. Join us as we traverse the bustling markets of Kigali, delve into the success stories of Rwandan entrepreneurs, and explore the dynamic forces shaping the nation's economy. From the boardrooms to the street vendors, we'll bring you the voices of the visionaries and the minds behind Rwanda's economic evolution. Discover the fusion of tradition and technology, witness the agricultural innovations transforming rural communities, and explore the cutting-edge innovations propelling Rwanda into a new era of economic prosperity. From the city lights to the rural landscapes, every business is a story waiting to be told. Hello there. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of The Business Age. As the world faces growing environmental challenges, the role of finance in driving sustainable solutions has never been more important. Today we focus on green bonds, looking at how do they work and why are they important for countries like Rwanda. You will be with me, Naringwa Fiona Mothoni. In Rwanda, we are seeing some exciting developments. Recently, Prime Energy PLC issued a 7-year green bond that has a face value of 9.5 billion Rwandan francs. The proceeds from the green bond will go into investing in a renewable greenfield project, while the rest will finance the maintenance of existing plants.
The green bond we're offering is not just a financial instrument, but it also represents our commitment in several areas. First, transparency. Transparency for us in our operations and reporting. Second, the environmental stewardship. I think we've nailed down on the word green. The third, of course, which is very important, is a strong returns for investors, contributing to our economy's growth and development. We've put in place a very rigorous monitoring and reporting mechanisms to ensure funds are used and deployed effectively and in line with the green bond principles.
So BK Capital, we are a licensed investment bank and fund manager by Capital Markets Authority and the National Bank of Rwanda. So in terms of our role, we're the financial advisor and sponsoring broker. What did we do? I think two major things. One was structuring the bond to meet all the requirements of the Capital Markets Authority and the Rwanda Stock Exchange, both of whom are mandated to protect investors and ensure that anything that comes to the public is done in an orderly and fair basis. So we supported Prime to ensure that all the documentation, all the disclosures are fully aligned and that the highest level of transparency, disclosure, and corporate governance has been met. The second thing is aligning the bond's features with the appetite of investors. So here in Rwanda, we have institutional investors such as pension fund managers, banks, insurance, unit trusts, MFIs, and retail. So we structure the bond really to meet the appetite, both in terms of returns and risk of these different groups. And we've done this for the last 1 year. This idea started in October. It's been a long journey given the different parties, but one that has been rewarding and one that has brought to market an instrument that's a first of its kind and an instrument that's drawing a lot of attention.
I think it's going to be a huge impact. Number one, it is the first of its kind. Therefore, it's likely to attract some of the portfolios or investors who are specifically looking for green bonds. Number one, it will act as a benchmark because it is the first one in Rwanda to be issued. And therefore, it will open up opportunities for all other players who have been looking at this avenue to really see if it's something that they can explore. So I think it's a good door for opportunities for potential issuers and also for new investors in the Rwandan market. There's some of the strategies that we actually doing is actually there's a lot of education that is actually going into the market, both to intermediaries, because remember, it is not only prime energy that plays a role. There are other intermediaries or industry players who actually play a role in this. We educate them, we uplift them, we upskill them, and we also make the conditions very conducive for them to be able to operate in this market.
The green bond issuers is a major milestone in the country's green financing journey. But what exactly are green bonds and how are they transforming industries like energy, infrastructure, and more?
The main thing that we look at as a green bond for a bond to be certified green is that it needs to be certified green by independent people who have assessed what you are going to be using the money for. So you are raising the money from the public. If you are going to classify that as a green bond, the money needs to be used for a green activity. And that green activity needs to be certified by an independent person who we call the verifier.
I think first I'll start with the topic of the green bond. I think, with the prominence of ESG, with the topic becoming an increasingly important and frequently discussed item in boardrooms, forums, and different engagements, greenwashing has become a big risk. And one of the things we wanted to do as we came to market was mitigate any risk of greenwashing. To do this, we structured a green bond framework that's fully compliant with the International Capital Market Association Green Bond Principles. This green bond framework has been assessed by an independent second-party opinion provider, which is IBIS Consulting, which is licensed and is mandated to carry out this sort of work by the International Capital Market Authority. So in terms of meeting all standards, be it global and even the national ones that are coming on board, this particular bond ticks all boxes. So I think that takes care of the green bond. But now if we look at the bond itself, let's look at the return characteristics. So the bond is trading, the return on the bond will be 1.5% higher than the equivalent government bond. In terms of risk, the principal will be paid over the life of the bond. So the average life of the bond is, even though it's 7 years, is just over 3.5 years. The key contracts, which are the power purchase agreement and the concessional agreement, are assignable to investors, and there are financial covenants to ensure that Prime remains financially prudent throughout. We've brought in a new feature, which is a USD-linked tranche. So this hedges the returns of investors against any depreciation that may happen. It's the first time in the market, and this allows and draws in international investors and those who may want to hedge any USD franc depreciation risk. I think those are the key things we've put in place to ensure that investors are interested and that this bond meets a subscription level that the issuer wishes for.
In 2023 alone, over $500 billion in green bonds were issued globally. Rwanda, with its focus on sustainability and climate resilience, is positioning itself as a leader in the region.
It is very crucial. Number one, green economy is one of the bigger things that are actually happening. And I think Rwanda as a country have done a lot in terms of all sectors of the green economy. There is taxonomy for green finance in Rwanda. There are a lot of other green activities that are actually happening in Rwanda. So I think the issuance, especially that it is the first one, will act as a benchmark, and it will open other doors for other issuers or potential issuers to come to the market.
I think what we have to look at is the gap in financing for sustainable development here in Africa. There are no specific figures for Rwanda, but Africa needs 180 billion. That is missing to drive various sustainability development goals. A lot of them are linked to climate risk mitigation and adaptation. Yeah? And these sort of instruments are able to draw in money for these sustainable initiatives and projects that will be going on for a number of years. Closer to home, there are hydro plants that are coming onto the grid. There are other forms of climate risk mitigation and adaptation that could be good candidates for green bonds. We're talking about things such as energy efficiency, clean cooking, waste management, initiatives to improve biodiversity. And those needs are there. And instruments such as these that investors are demanding can be used to finance initiatives that will improve sustainability. So we expect that with this bond, many others will follow suit. Besides raising money for the issuer, we believe that our role has also been one to be catalytic and pave the way and for other people to come in and do the same.
The role that we play as a capital market authority is to generally regulate the market. And therefore, when Prime Energy or any other entity in the economy in Rwanda or coming from outside want to raise capital or to get money from members of the public or institutions in Rwanda, they need to put together a document that we call a prospectus, and then to show what do they want to use the money for, how are they structured, how is money going to be protected, how is the governance structure of the company, and then how much money they want to raise, and then what are they going to use that exactly money for. And what we do as the regulator, as CMA, is we look at this application, and then we look at whether it meets the requirements that have been set up by the authority and by the stock exchange. And then after satisfying ourselves that the requirement has been met, we approve it. And that's exactly what we did in the case of Prime Energy.
Green financing, a fast-growing sector, is helping to fund projects that reduce environmental impact while delivering financial returns. We look at the role of Capital Markets Authority.
Long time ago, when this market was being launched, it was launched for basically three things. There was a deliberate move by the government of Rwanda to make sure that we find long-term financing for our economy. As you know, most of us here, if you talk about finance in Rwanda, you hear banks, microfinance institutions, even sometimes, but that was not enough for Rwanda to finance its long-term ambitious agenda of development. So the first reason why the market was put in place was that one. Let's find another alternative way of looking or finding long-term finance for our business operators, that is the private sector, but also the government. So number two, it was to help foster long-term savings among the people, the population. So savings, when they are put together, they are translated into investments. Investments go to entrepreneurs to develop their businesses. That's number two. So there are two sides to the coin always in the capital market. One side, long-term investments, and then savings that can be channeled into productive sectors of the economy. And the third one was to promote good corporate governance. And if you ask me, that one actually should have even been the first. Because if you don't have proper good governance, I don't know if you can make any strides either in your own household, your business, or a country.
The capital markets are increasingly being used to mobilize private sector financing for sustainable development.
Yeah, what normally happens is that because the bond is listed in a stock exchange, the stock exchange formulate some rules and regulations and criteria, which they call listing rules, and some continuing obligations, which are sort of the continuous reporting standard. And then after they formulate these rules, they actually send them to CMA, which is the Capital Markets Authority, for approval. So as CMA, we assess these rules and see if actually they are of international standard, and if they are actually protective of investors, and if actually they conform to the criteria that the stock exchange claims it belongs. And then after it approves them, it is then that the stock exchanges publicize them, and then anyone who wants to apply needs to conform to these rules, and it is that confirmation or compliance that we check as CMA.
Transparency is at the heart of investor trust in green financing.
We're very keen to report quarterly, both on the detailed insights, not only on our financial performance, but as well on our environmental impact metrics, which is key. So we'll keep ourselves honest and be honest when we share these reports, some of which will be quarterly. When Prime Energy was established, we set out not just to be an energy company, but to play a crucial role in their development. We've really made some progress, and we stand as a testament to that. First, with the robust governance framework we have, what was crucial before we set out in this goal, in this initiative. Second, with the strong institutional frameworks, as well as a clear path to sustainable growth. Our board brings diverse expertise from the energy sector, finance, and sustainable development. This diversity will be instrumental in shaping our strategic direction and ensuring that we maintain the highest standards of corporate governance. I think it's important for investors that we have a very solid corporate governance to ensure not only returns, but as well as how we run our companies.
Attracting new investors into the capital markets is a crucial component in building a more inclusive, competitive, and sustainable financial ecosystem.
In terms of coming to the market, the capital markets is a viable avenue for a number of reasons. One, you can reduce the cost of borrowing. You can access capital with more flexible repayment and collateral requirements. You're able to crowd in a broad base of investors. You're able to access equity. But I think in terms of the process, what we see here is fairly typical in terms of, there needs to be a high level of transparency and disclosure to protect investors. So what we see here in Rwanda, we see in other markets. I think what we need to do as intermediaries is educate more that this is something that can be done. We have seen SMEs come into the market, Energy Hotel, Maui Millers, Prime Energy. We've seen big corporates and institutions such as BRD. And I think these really form a catalytic and a good example that this is something that's doable. And I encourage all issuers to consider the journey, given the benefits that it offers. And as intermediaries, we're available to guide you on this.
A thriving capital market depends on a well-designed regulatory environment that balances oversight, innovation, and investor protection.
Rwanda stands very much to be one of the leaders in this market, especially in this space, because of a broad policy spectrum that is already actually existing even in government. I mean, in government policy and also in terms of the economy. And more especially that I think it's a new area in a lot of more African financial market. It stands up to be one of the good beneficiaries as a capital market to actually expand this product in terms of the market. And even as a CFA and a CMA, we've got a lot of programs that we are actually going to be launching that are related to green products, sustainable products, and also social products.
Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of The Business Age. You were with me, Naringwa Fiona Muthoni.